Alright. We're taking all the best old school wisdom and blending it with the top new school methods to bring you the optimal coaching strategies. This is the 80-20 Baseball Podcast with Coach Bo.
Welcome all you great youth baseball coaches, parents, and even youth baseball players. I know you're listening. Welcome to this week's episode, July 16th, 2024. MLB All-Star Game is tonight. If you do watch that, look for commonalities of the great players. The MLB Major League Baseball Draft was held a few days back. We're going to talk about what we can learn from that to help our youth baseball players. We'll talk about Los Gigantes, the San Francisco Giants, and more specifically, their issues with stopping the running game. And this is a big thing at the youth level once base runners can start to steal bases and even on pass balls and wild pitches. We'll talk about an interesting discrepancy between how great their catcher is at throwing, but they're still giving up a league-leading amount of stolen bases. And we'll tie this in with how we can better coach our pitchers, our catchers, our infielders, so we can better slow down the opponent's running game. I'm going to read a short article that I picked up on a post by Dan Orlovsky on X. The article is by Matt De Silva, editor-in-chief from USA Lacrosse magazine, titled, "How do we turn down the temperature around youth and high school sports? A challenge to parents." I'll read that off. It's a short article, but it's pretty awesome. Then I'm going to share a list I came across that shares out 10 things that require zero talent from our players, from our kids, that are completely within their control. This is a list that can be coached across the board, regardless of talent. And lastly, I'm going to share a quick synopsis of a video that I came across from Robert Grosso. He's a baseball coach out in the San Diego area. The video was titled, "What Are We Doing to Create a Championship Culture?" And I'm going to summarize what he says culture is to him and how they coach it and their motto, which I think is something we should borrow and use with our teams. So we'll dive into that. If you haven't already, grab the free drill design guide. It's a 21-page PDF that I put together. It's about a 15 to 20-minute read. No matter your background in coaching, the amount of years you've been coaching, I promise you'll find some interesting stuff in there, useful stuff. And if you're new to coaching, you've coached less than 5 years, I promise it'll give you a lot of guidance. Setting the mindset, molding your mindset to know how to design great drills. So it discusses the ingredients, the components of great drills. It's free for you over there. You throw your email in, you're not going to get any spam from me. Get that sent to you right away. It's part of my way to give back to the youth baseball community, the coaching community, just like this podcast, which has never had an ad on it. Giving away that drill design guide, articles over on 8020baseball.com, videos. Just feel like I've been put in a position through all the circumstances that have funneled me to this place to be here in a great position to share back with all of you. So you can go from new coaches to good coaches, from good coaches to great coaches a lot faster and making a lot less mistakes along the way. If you could leave a review for this podcast, that really helps out. And send me an email, coachbo@8020baseball.com. Send me an email, send me your thoughts, send me questions. Is there something you want me to discuss on the podcast? Let me know. I love to hear about your journey, how things are going. Over the years, it's been awesome getting to know so many of you great listeners have reached out, had correspondence with. So don't hesitate, send me an email. There is a contact page on the website that goes right to my inbox as well. So I'm going to throw in something here at the beginning that just popped into my mind right before I hit the record button. I think it's a really good idea to drip feed to our players, to our kids in a calm and subtle way, possible things that could arise moving forward in the future. Let me give you an example. Simply telling all your hitters, all your players, your own kids, your own kid that, hey, they will strike out. All the greats strike out. You could share the quote from Babe Ruth that I've shared many times on this podcast about don't let the fear of striking out keep you from hitting a home run. I think there's a skill to this, and I think there's a strategy to this where you don't come across as doom and gloom or as a defeatist. If you praise your kids and your players, if you build up their confidence and then set their expectations more aligned with reality by telling them that there will be failure, before the season starts or before a game starts, say, hey, you may strike out today. Hey guys, we're going to strike out. Some of us are going to strike out once, twice. And then I like to say, some of you might not strike out today. We're not going to focus on avoiding strikeouts. We're going to focus on being good hitters. And if we strike out, hey, part of the game. All the greats strike out. And I'll add this message. I'll tie this message on many a times when I'm trying to better prepare my players, my kids' expectations for failure or what true success is. I'll say this. Some of you are going to strike out today. Some might strike out a few times. Some of you might not strike out at all. We're not going up there looking to strike out. We're not going up there with that as the goal, of course, but it's going to happen. And I think by saying that's not the goal, of course, and also sharing different possibilities and outcomes, it makes it a little more accepted. And when it happens, they're not so disgruntled because you've aligned their expectations closer with the realities of playing baseball, and hitters are going to strike out. I also think it's important to add that message of, hey, that's not the goal. We're not going up there looking to strike out. And you guys have been working hard with your approaches. And there will be days and maybe even games or streaks where you don't strike out at all. And there may be games we strike out 2 or 3 times. It's all good. And by saying something as simple as that, all we're doing is sharing with them the realities that will inevitably come their way. All we're trying to do is set their expectation, set their paradigm so it as closely aligns with likely outcomes. Of course, they may have a game where they hit 3 home runs. I wouldn't, as a coach or a parent, get them ready to do that. Hey, you're going to hit 3 home runs in a game this year. There's going to be a game this season. I know you're going to hit 3 home runs. I wouldn't do that. Not in a million years. That's an outlier performance. Same with saying, hey, you're going to strike out 4 times in a game this year. I'd take that one off the table. Stay in that middle 80% of outcomes, and you shed a positive message in a positive, optimistic way with the additional message or the message tied on to that of, hey, some of y'all are going to strike out today. And then you could even take it a step further by, I don't care if you strike out, but I do care how you respond to the strikeout. Do you respond with a chin up, chest out, positive, confident strut back to the dugout? And then with the mindset of, what did I do that could be improved? So, quick story, our summer trip up to the mountain lake. This lake in Idaho sits at the bottom of some 10,000 plus foot peaks. Beautiful lake, crystal clear water, and you got to book it about a year in advance. And so we booked it last year. And on the drive up, I turned around and I said to my kid, hey, it's summertime, very warm out. There are fires in the forest. It may not happen. The chances are slim that we might have a fire in the area that, up by the lake, but it happens. And if it does, we'll figure out something else to do and we'll have a good time. And I think a lot of people, if they were in the car at the time, are like, why even bring that up? Why even bring that up? Well, one, I know that forest fires are common. Forest fires in July and August, and I know we're going in the middle of the forest. So I just subtly said, hey, I didn't sit there for 10 minutes and talk about it. I didn't even sit there and talk about it for 5 minutes. I just, about halfway through the trip, we were talking about the temperature, and I said, it's warm out. So, hey, we're going up into the forest. We're going to the mountain lake. There are fires up here. I said, hey, nothing that we can't evacuate from and get away from. We're not going to have any problems. We'll be fine. We have a car. We're not going backpacking deep into the wilderness where we have to hike out. There's roads we can drive and leave if something does happen. So as far as our safety, there's nothing wrong with that. But there might be a forest fire, and hey, you never know. They may have to shut down the area that we're staying. It's not likely, but hey, just something to keep in mind. And that's it. That was my conversation. And I'm guessing most of you know where I'm going with this. The second day we're there, I look over the far ridge of the lake and I see some smoke. Just a faint little bit of smoke, actually right against the face of the glacier peak. And immediately it's one of those pattern things. You just know that's not smoke from a campfire. That's not smoke coming from some cabin up there. And sure enough, a couple hours later, now we got a helicopter on scene, dumping some water or fire retardant. So we go to bed. The next day we wake up. It doesn't look like there's any smoke, just a little bit, a little puff here, a little white puff there. Then it starts to build up. And I tell my kid, I say, hey, there's a fire over there. It's not close and we're safe. But hey, the wind is blowing this way. So, they may tell us we got to evacuate and pack up. Now, mind you, we've been talking about this trip, looking forward to it for a year. This is our summer trip that's been on the books and paid for almost a year. And sure enough, the sheriff comes out and says to everybody, hey, we're going to be closing down the entire area at 5 p.m. tonight. Everybody's got to pack up and leave. So now we had 3 days left. Now here's an interesting side note to this. One of my kids' classmates happened to be up there camping nearby us. And the classmate's mom had just got done telling me that she had been coming up to this lake for 47 years in a row. Her and her family had come up 47 straight years. So the sheriff comes out, announces the whole area is getting shut down, evacuated, and we have to leave by 5 p.m. I turned and asked the mom, I said, hey, in 47 years of coming here, have you ever been evacuated? She said, never, not once. And so here we are, our first time up there. and we're getting evacuated. And guess whose attitude was awesome? My kid's attitude was phenomenal upon hearing this news. It was such an easy pivot. The expectation was already planted there. The possibility of this happening was tiny little seed had already been placed. The reaction was great. And I do think that the reaction to being evacuated, literally being pulled out of the lake, put your toys away, tell your friend bye, let's go back, pack up all our stuff, and we got to go. And I truly believe that by subtly and as mildly as I could, telling my kid that is a possibility. If it does, we'll be safe. We'll just, we'll have to leave. And so when we left, the attitude was much better. And I think when we're coaching up our players and our kids, such as, hey, baseball season is during the spring. It rains during the spring. There probably will be a rain out this year. There might be multiple rain outs this year. That's okay. That's Mother Nature making our fields greener, filling up our water supply. It's all good. It happens. It's part of the game. And hey, it may happen. We may go the whole season without a rain out. We may have half a dozen rain outs. We'll see. All right. Hey, just want to let you know that that's a possibility. The coaching staff will have alternative plans. We'll have some plans, but just something to keep in mind. And that's that. That's your message. 30 seconds, 45 seconds. You might share that again, maybe a second time if you do a longer season with your team, but that's it. Now, when the rain out comes, hey, coach did say this could happen. It's not like, what do you mean we can't play? What? A lot of kids can connect those dots, especially the older players. Hey, it might rain. It's going to rain. We have rain outs. It's part of playing. They've played a lot of seasons. They know that is something that happens. But there are some players that don't play a lot of baseball, and that's something I think is good to share with them. So now we pivoted out, we evacuated, and we were driving a back way home to the Boise area, and we get about an hour and a half. We're on this back stretch of just farms, not much, a few homes here and there, but just this beautiful valley with mountains on the sides, just farm and agriculture and ranches. We're getting to this small town, Fairfield, Idaho, and I mean a small town. There's no stop sign, and we slow down about 35 miles an hour going through, and there's this handwritten sign, big handwritten sign that said Rodeo 7:30 with an arrow pointing to the right. And I looked at my wife and said, you want to go? She said, let's do it. Pulled over. This small town rodeo was so much fun. Now here, I'm going to tie this in. The rodeo started at 7:30. The first event they did was bareback riding. This is a small town operation. This wasn't your PBR mega rodeo. This was as small town as it gets. I mean, it was cash only. There was a lady under an easy up taking cash only to get in. The food vendors were literally families from the area that had barbecues, and they did this entire rodeo in exactly 90 minutes. Exactly 90 minutes. It was awesome. I loved it. They planned it out. It was ready to go. And when we're coaching baseball teams, when we're coaching our practices, having a practice plan is gold, and moving quickly is gold. My 7-year-old never lost interest and focus because it kept moving right along. They're trying to corral bulls and horses that want to buck off their rider. They're literally trying to corral animals and get them all on the same page to do things at the right time, to be in the stall when they need to be in the stall and lined up when they need to be lined up. They literally corralled dozens of bulls, horses, bucking broncos, and they ran this so efficient. There was one time where the horse sat down in the stall so it couldn't come out to buck the rider off, and they just pivoted. All right, we're going to move from stall 2 to stall 3. We'll come back to stall 2. It looks like our horse sunset strip is not ready to go. And boom, they just pivoted. They did bareback riding, steer wrestling, team roping, saddle bronc riding, tie down roping, barrel racing, and bull riding. 7 full events, dozens of participants. Started right on the dot at 7:30 with the national anthem, and it ended exactly at 9 p.m. Practices need to be efficient like this rodeo. I wish y'all could have seen it. This was synchronized so well. Our practices don't need to be rushed. They just need to be fast-paced. So we pivoted, got evacuated, went to this rodeo, and I was just impressed. What they got done in an hour and a half. So coaches, when you find yourself saying, an hour and a half, that's not a lot of time. The Camas County Rodeo in Fairfield, Idaho, surrounded by ranches and farms, well over an hour and a half from the nearest big city, and they got it dialed in to a T. It was efficient, but not rushed. They got a lot done. They kept everybody engaged. I'll tell you what, that rodeo was a perfect example of how to run our practices. And I'm telling you, I know kids can be wild, and they can act like a bunch of wild animals sometimes, but they were literally getting bulls, angry bulls, on the same page, bucking broncos, horses that wanted to sit down and not stand up. Sounds a lot like coaching kids, huh? And they had it dialed in. If I can find a video of that rodeo, I'll put it in the show notes. All right, big shout out to all the Aussies, the Australians that listen to this podcast. Travis Bazzana was the first pick in the MLB draft. He's from Hornsby, Australia, which from what I understand, is near Sydney, suburb of Sydney. The third largest audience size when it comes to countries that listen to this podcast, and it's been this way since day one, is Australia, the country with the third most listeners of the 80/20 Baseball podcast. Big shout out to the Aussies out there. Travis Bazzana, Australian born, Australian raised, didn't come to the United States until college. The number one overall pick in the draft. And here's something that's interesting. He's the first second baseman ever drafted number one. And I'm going to tie this in with the 80/20 baseball strategies that we discuss here. He's listed at 6 foot, but I've read a lot that says he's probably a little under that. So this is somebody who's, let's say, 5'11 and a half, according to what I'm reading. He's a second baseman, not even a premium position, such as shortstop, catcher, center field, when it comes to the defensive positions. And when he was drafted, I was watching MLB Network, and here's what they said verbatim right after he got drafted. He makes the best swing decisions ever seen in college baseball by the MLB Network team. So right after he gets drafted, they said he makes the best swing decisions ever seen in college baseball by the MLB Network team. They also said he hits every day. Bazzana in college, in his 3 college seasons, had 180 walks and 146 strikeouts. Well, there you go. He's the number one pick in the draft. He had 146 strikeouts in college. That's probably less than 1 a game, but not too far from it. Yet he's considered one of the best hitters his age in the world. This last season, he had 76 walks and 37 strikeouts. So he had twice as many walks as strikeouts at high-level college baseball. That's incredible. We talk about swing decisions. We're not looking for walks, but walks will come our way, and a lot of them will come our way if we have a good hitting approach. But he also set the school record, I believe, for home runs. You don't go up there and set the school record for home runs by looking for walks. The walks were a byproduct of great swing decisions, a great hitting plan, a great hitting approach. And also on MLB.com, it said, clearly the experience he had from playing other sports has helped him become such an athletic baseball player that the Guardians, the Cleveland Guardians, are confident he could move all over the diamond defensively if they eventually choose to do so. That goes back to one of the things we discussed last week with Coach Russ Wright, Hall of Fame coach, talking about playing multiple sports. And here's a kid who played cricket, soccer, among other things when he was young. And he believes, and MLB.com here also says that they believe that that was a big part of him becoming a better athlete, which translates into being a better baseball player. So that ties into last week's topic. Should players specialize in one sport or be a multi-sport athlete? So shout out to the Australian listeners. We got listeners in New South Wales, Queensland, Victoria, Western Australia, South Australia, the Australian Capital Territory, and Tasmania. Good stuff. Shout out to all of you. Should be pumped up. I'll tell you one thing, I'll add this, the British accent, it's awesome. If you ever watch a Guy Ritchie movie or any movie that's got the British accent, I like listening to it. I think it's fun to listen to that. It's just soothing on the ears, but I'll tell you the accent that's at the top of my list, the Australian accent. There's a smoothness to it, smooth southern drawl combined with the British accent. I had a handful of Australian teammates when I played pro ball. Nicest guys. Love that accent. Can't get enough of it. I hope the Australians start making more movies. We start getting more Australians into the acting world because that accent is awesome. All right. So you could be under 6 foot tall, play a non-premium position, second base, go to a non-SEC school, a non-ACC school. You can be born in Australia and still be the number one overall pick in the MLB draft. It boils down to being a good athlete, working hard, making great swing decisions, and when you do swing, hitting the ball hard. Now, big problem at the youth game, once base runners can steal, or even before they can steal, is slowing down the running game, the opposing team's running game. I came across this fascinating stat by the San Francisco Giants. They've given up by far the most stolen bases this season in Major League Baseball. And I'm going to tie this in with coaching youth players here. Their main catcher, Patrick Bailey, is considered, statistically speaking, an elite throwing catcher. He's in the 96th percentile for pop time. For those of you that don't know what pop time is, that's from the time the pitch hits the catcher's glove to the time the catcher's throw hits the middle infielder's glove. So basically glove to glove time. He's at the 96th percentile for pop time, but opponents are getting such good jumps that it doesn't matter. And I came across this article on Fangraphs. I'm a big Fangraphs fan. And so here's my quick message to all of you. When you're coaching up your team, your players, your defense to slow down the running game, you have to look at it as different components. Is your catcher getting rid of the ball really quick? How fast can they throw it? How fast can they get rid of it? And another thing is, if our pitchers are slow to the plate, if they're getting the pitch to the plate in more than 1.3 seconds from the time their first movement of their delivery, so they're in the stretch, the minute they lift that front foot, That first movement. Now, sometimes pitchers will mess up and move their upper half first, right? So if they start moving their upper half, that gives the runner a huge advantage because once the pitcher starts moving and it's not a pick-off move or a step-off move, the runner can just take off because if the pitcher does decide to throw it over to first or do something different, that's a balk. So as soon as the pitcher makes his first movement, that's part of his delivery. From that time to the time the ball hits the catcher's glove, that needs to be under 1.3 seconds. I find that if pitchers get it under 1.1, they're usually rushing their delivery and the quality of their pitches starts to deteriorate. The sweet spot's between 1.15 and 1.25. That's a sweet spot right there. Shorter pitchers should be faster. Taller pitchers will be a little slower. That's to be expected. But we got to speed up the pitching delivery. Go watch the power slide step video on the website. I break it down exactly how to do all that. The third component of holding the running game is, are we picking off and do we have good pickoff moves? Do we keep the runners on their heels? Do we play the role of being on offense as the pitcher, as the defense? Are we causing the runners to hesitate, to get slower jumps because they have a fear of getting picked off or a fear of a good pickoff move coming their way or a back pick from the catcher? As a pitcher, you should be on offense with the ball in your hand, just like in basketball, the point guard has the ball, they're on offense. In baseball, the pitcher, I know it's considered the defense, but really think about it as being offense. You dictate to the runner what they can do and what they can't do. And the catcher can also do this by using back picks and being ready to throw. So speed up the delivery time, speed up the catcher release time, then add in the accuracy component as you move forward, and add in quality pickoffs. Even if the pitcher just has one good pickoff, they need to use it, they need to randomize it, tie it in with some back picks from the catcher. Keep those runners on their heels. Let's move to the next segment here. This is from USA Lacrosse Magazine. Editor-in-Chief Matt DeSilva wrote this article, How Do We Turn Down the Temperature Around Youth and High School Sports? A Challenge to Parents. My 11-year-old son, an athlete, derides the fact that his father only cares about sportsmanship and having fun. It's a problem. I need to explain why that's okay. He hates that I always defend officials and compliment opponents. He can't fathom why I would prefer a hard-fought loss over a blowout win. He's getting serious about sports now, you see, and for some reason that means I should scour the standings and join the finger-pointing parade on the sidelines. He almost had me second-guessing myself, like maybe I should care more about the results, his performance, and all the team's records. We play sports to win, don't we? Had I been so brainwashed by working at a governing body for nearly 20 years that I lost my competitive edge? But then I saw the viral TikTok of a lacrosse mom holding a baby and screaming obscenities at a high school student while an official attempts to escort her from a state playoff game, and the Reddit headline about lacrosse dad who tried to fight a ref. These are extreme examples, but they illustrate a troubling trend of parents behaving badly at sporting events. And in my experience as a coach and observer, these blowups all start somewhere. The temperature turns up in a competitive game, and the mother who arrived smiling about the weather starts pacing nervously. "Oh, come on," a father yells after a non-call when his kid falls to the ground in a 50-50 battle. These are the canaries in the coal mine. Before you know it, a coach asks the ref to address a parent standing menacingly behind the goal, and then two parents are yelling at each other. I've seen this exact episode play out, not on the internet, but in my own community. How do we turn down the temperature around youth and high school sports? I offer this challenge to parents. Go an entire weekend voicing nothing but encouragement and praise. Say nothing to or about the officials. Better yet, thank them afterward for doing a job almost no one wants to do anymore due to the sportsmanship epidemic. Say kind things about your opponents. Resist the urge to gossip with other parents about who's playing where, what playing time they're getting, etc. Kids hear everything, and if you're an athlete reading this, let your parents know how their behavior, good, bad, or indifferent, affects you and your love of the game. Matt DeSilva, Editor-in-Chief of USA Lacrosse Magazine. I love the challenge here, and that's really what I'd love for you to take out of this. Set the goal of not saying anything but praise or compliments. We should share this challenge to our parents, the parents of the players on the team, and say, hey parents, I have a challenge for all of us. I have a challenge for all of us. We're not going to say anything the entire weekend about the officials. We're not going to say anything for the entire game about the officials to the officials. We're not going to talk about the officials to someone next to us. We're not going to even bring up the words umpire or ref or officials. We are simply going to praise and compliment our players, the other team, the umpires, etc. I recommend you present this to parents this challenge that is to voice nothing but encouragement and praise, including saying kind things about your opponents and thanking the umpires, referees, officials after the game. I came across that, which was tweeted by Dan Orlovsky on X, at Dan Orlovsky7. Thought that was a great challenge that we could use. It's a concrete, actionable plan, an actionable goal that we could use with our team's parents or with ourselves. All right. I also came across this list of 10 things that require zero talent. This was posted on X by @AgentSteven, @AgentSteven. 10 things that require zero talent. And as a coach, we don't need to know anything about the game of baseball to coach up these 10 things. And these 10 things will impact the success of our team, the success we have at each game, the success we have at each practice. And if you have a ton of baseball experience, you should still be coaching up these 10 things. Number one, being on time. For younger kids, this is a little tougher because the parents are involved, but you could emphasize this with parents, being on time. Number two, work ethic. Number three, effort. Number four, body language. Number five, energy. Number six, attitude. Number seven, passion. Number eight, being coachable. Number nine, doing extra. Number 10, being prepared. The three that I think are the most important to dial in on for the younger levels, not the only important three, but the priorities: effort, hustle. In other words, are they hustling? Attitude, they have a good attitude. And that goes kind of with body language, ties into that. Hey, you got to give me good effort. You got to hustle. No bad body language, no bad attitudes, no back talk. And the third one, being coachable. How do they respond when you give them feedback? Oh, I know, coach. I know that already. We're not having that. We need to coach up kids on how to be coachable. We want our kids to be coachable. We want our players to be coachable. We want our students in the classroom to be teachable. Well, we got to coach them up on how to be coachable, how to be teachable. It starts at home with the parents, but I think it's an area that coaches could really build up. So when our young kids get older, they can take instruction, they can take feedback, they can handle being coached up. They learn to be open-minded. All right, so 10 things that require zero talent: being on time, work ethic, effort, body language, energy, attitude, passion, being coachable, doing extra, being prepared. That was posted by @AgentSteven on X. This last one comes from Robert Grasso, titled, "What are we doing to create a championship culture?" He's from the La Jolla, San Diego area in California. And here's the motto that they came up with regard to culture. And I think this is something we should use with our players. Their motto, their slogan for culture is "the way we do things." The way we do things. 5 words, simple, easy to understand, encapsulates the overarching goal, the overarching idea of what team culture is. What is team culture? The way we do things. You could start off the season, your parent-player meeting to start the season, or the first practice if for some reason you can't get a meeting accomplished. Our team culture is the way we do things. And we're going to have a great team culture, and it's all going to boil down to the way we do things. That's our team culture. And that's a good message right there. Now, Coach Grasso bulleted out a few points here, a few questions that pertain to the way they do things. How do we train? How do we practice? How do we compete? How do we react to adversity? How do we relate to each other? How do we treat new players? How do we treat less talented players? Do we spend time together as a team? How well do we know each other? So those are some guiding questions that can help establish a better culture, more specifically, the way we do things. All right. I always try to give actionable steps, items here, along with cultivating a better coaching paradigm, a better leadership mindset. It goes together, right? We got to fine tune that mindset and also have actionable things that we can go out there, test out, try out, use with our players, our teams, our own kids. If you haven't already, get that drill design guide. It gets emailed to you right away. It gives you the ingredients, the components of what makes a drill great. I have one simple, easy request. That's to go leave a quick review of the podcast and share it with one friend. That is the best way to support this podcast. And send me an email with your questions, your thoughts. Tell me about your coaching journey. Love hearing from all of you. Next week, top 5 coaching X posts of the month and a message from Nolan Ryan that we can use with all of our pitchers, no matter what age they're at. And I'll share with you the recommended ratio for Plan A and Plan 2 reps during batting practice. So I'll share with you my recommended ratio for distributing Plan A and Plan 2 reps during batting practice. That'll all be next week. Hope you all have a fantastic week. Let's take care of our health so we can be strong for our families, our close friends, and take this information that we've discussed in this episode today and go put it into play. Have a great week. Take care. And until next week, adios.
This has been the 80-20 Baseball Masterclass. Take it to the field.